I have a story about a big loss I took. I think it was about 400K in like 30 minutes. I think most people would give up at that point in time,
Yeah.
but it's something that I used as kind of strength. And I always try to use those losses as lessons, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the big keys. Once I understood that risk reward concept, I was like, holy shit, this is something that I need to learn how to apply right away, because I know it's going to impact the bottom line. And it is. And what I saw, there was a gap in the industry when I came in, was all the chat rooms were really unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
They were run by, a lot of them were run by kids. A lot of them were, just garbage information. They're just
Right.
trading small caps. Essentially, all the information that I would see in the chat rooms wouldn't be as useful as it could be, but I did see bits and pieces that were useful. So I figured if I can control the situation and actually moderate it, then the amount of information flow that is useful will increase, and thus it can help my trading as well as other individuals.
Hey man, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Fantastic that you're on. Fantastic that we can have this important conversation about, a field that has always intrigued me, and a area that I know that you have helped people in, and that you are an expert in as well. So let's get straight into business. Just introduce yourself to my audience. Let people know exactly who you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me on. And my name's Chris. I'm the CEO of Spartan Trading, and I've been in the capital market space for over 12 years. I own various companies within the space, ranging from an educational trading company and chat rooms to an algorithmic trading company called Breaking Equity, and I do a lot of stuff on the institutional side as well. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and jump on this conversation with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you said that you are in the trading space. Now, I know that this is a space that requires a lot of work and a lot
Mhm.
of understanding. But why did you get into this space to begin with? Let's start there.
Sure. Yeah. On the trading side, mainly, I am from Canada, but I only deal in the U.S. capital market side for the most part. I started to deal on the Canadian side a little bit more as of late, but the U.S. side is what drew me to the market. And, I started probably the second year of university. I was taking finance for my undergrad. One of my professors at the time at SFU was the head of TD Securities. And head of CD securities in the capital market side, I should say. And we got to talking. He taught me a few different things, and it captivated me to learn more and get more involved within the industry. And what I found was it's something that I became very passionate very quickly. It's a very hard industry. Obviously, it takes a lot of time to understand how things work. It's very time consuming as well, but it's something that it doesn't have a ceiling on, and you can have basically an unlimited growth potential. So that's what kind of captivated to come into it, as well as just the way that it functions in general. I think it's a very interesting way to make money, and I think if you can do it, it's a skill that you'll be able to basically apply for the rest of your life, right? So, that's kind of what drew me into it, and that's why I do it.
Got you. Got you. So what is the mindset that is required to be a successful trader?
So mindset is, something that's extremely key. When we're talking about mindset and trading, it's really about understanding yourself, what makes yourself tick, because you need to control yourself with discipline within the market in order to do well. What I mean by that is you need to be patient, which is a lot harder and easier than being said. Um, waiting for the right opportunities, and when you're in them, actually executing without any fear, and then being able to stay within that opportunity as it works. I find that a lot of individuals have issues with, the patient side of things, bringing emotion into it when they're actually within a trade where they
Mhm.
exit early or they're not able to control risk properly. So, when we talk about, that, emotional side of trading, it's a massive thing. It's probably about 95% of what trading really is. Once you understand the fundamentals and the basics, and you go through that learning curve, then it all is on yourself and how you manage yourself within the market.
Got you. Got you. So I'm understanding, and this is not the first time I'm having somebody in the trading business on here. But I'm understanding that self management is even more important than understanding the fundamentals, and understanding, you know,
Mhm.
the basics of it. You need to know how to manage yourself.
Yeah. And I think, one of the key components to that is, if you understand, there's a concept called risk reward, and risk reward is
Hmm.
essentially risking a certain amount to make a certain amount. Now, within trading, if you skew this ratio in your favor over the course of time, it means you don't always need to be right. I think there's a misconception in trading where, this person's always right or you always need to be right. That's not the case. It's more so when you're right, you need to stay right, and when you're wrong, you want to be able to control when you're wrong to get out quick enough so you don't do any damage. And if you can keep this ratio skewed at a 3-to-1 basis or higher, then you can be quite profitable in the market and you can scale what you're doing tremendously. But that's a little bit of a ratio that I think is extremely important. It goes with life as well,
Hmm.
but certainly within the market, and that's why that discipline aspect when trading is so important.
Got you. Got you. So, all right. So you got interested in trading while in college, and now
Mhm.
you've become a trader, and you saw some success in that. And then you decide, okay, we need to take this a little bit further and teach others how to do it, help others do that. Why did you decide to do that, and when did that occur for you?
I don't. It wasn't necessarily I wanted to teach people right away. I think it was more so you have all these different rooms, chat rooms out there. You have all this different information and news flow.
Right.
And what I saw there was a gap in the industry when I came in was all the chat rooms were really unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
They were run by, a lot of them were run by kids. A lot of them were, it's just garbage information. They're just
Right.
trading small caps. Essentially, all the information that I would see in the chat rooms wouldn't be as useful as it could be, but I did see bits and pieces that were useful. So I figured if I can control the situation and actually moderate it, then the amount of information flow that is useful will increase, and thus it can help my trading as well as other individuals. Now, if you surround yourself in an environment with really good traders or really good people that specialize in different areas, like someone's good at macro, someone's good at options, someone's good at the fundamentals, etc., then you get a conglomerate of really smart individuals that are tuned into the market that can pass that information to you very quickly. Trading is a game of who has the most information, the best information, most likely will be able to capitalize on an opportunity. So I figured, okay, if I want to, grow myself in the trading community or grow myself as a trader, I should build a community. And
Right.
then that community turned into, well, you would get newer individuals and they would want to learn how to actually do it. And I would take them under my wing and I would show them. And I found that from there, there's a lot of impact that you can have
Mm-hmm.
from a positivity standpoint. I mean, trading is kind of a very, a lone solo type of activity. But when you bring people into that fold where you're able to help them and, allow them to grow, it gives you a lot of satisfaction, I could say. I mean, I'll give you two situations. I have two traders that are in the mentorship program that I want to spotlight. One, her name's Elena. She's one of our star students. And, she came into the program. She was making like 20, 30K a month, which is a lot of money, so to speak. But she was stuck at this plateau. And, I just kept pushing her. I showed her the system, taught her everything, and kept pushing her to, go bigger. We would review everything every single week. And what I found with her was we were able to scale her up really quickly. I think in the last 2 years, she's made about 5.3 million USD, which is a tremendous amount of money. And I'm very proud of her to actually get there. But, and I'm going to do an interview with her in about a month and I'll post it online. But, these types of individuals will come to me and they'll be like, hey, Spark, you changed my life, etc. And I think that's a very cool impact to have on somebody. And if I can do that for more individuals, then, I'm going to do it. There's only so much of me to go around, but I do find a lot of satisfaction in that. And then there's another situation, a younger trader. His name's Mateo, newer to trading. He's been in the industry for maybe 6 months, and younger individual. Took him under my wing, and taught him the system, taught him how everything works, and he's becoming a little bit of a protege. He's already up 600% in 2 months, which is a phenomenal. Increase in his bottom line and phenomenal performance. and he's a younger guy, and he's extremely excited, and that kind of revigorates you to want to teach him and show him more, etc. So there's a lot of different reasons why I think but the information flow and kind of the satisfaction I get from showing these guys how it's done, etc. It would be the two main reasons.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so then we hear the results and we hear of what you do, but every trading business says that they have those results, they have that value, right? So what sets Spartan apart from other trading chat rooms, other trading communities, other trading businesses? What sets you apart, and how are you different than they are?
Sure. I mean, I think the two examples I just gave would probably be pretty big reasons. I mean, my top students probably producing better results than what most leaders in the chat rooms out there are producing year to year. So I think that in itself just speaks to the system and what we do. But other than that, between the three moderators, myself and two others, um, we have over 100 years of experience, combined institutional and retail. So I don't think anyone brings that type of tenure to the table. The other thing that we do every single day is you stream the whole day from 8 a.m. till 4 p.m., which most people only stream in the morning. We post everything and we track every single trade, so we can see our statistics, we can see the risk reward per trade, etc. I find that not really anyone has the transparency out there. I'm not one to go on social media and say I'm the best or this or that.
Yeah.
I just post our numbers, and then people can see the timestamps, trade ideas, what they produce, and they can make a decision for themselves. I leave it up to everyone else to see the value. I just show them the results and the numbers and give them that transparency to see when we're right, when we're wrong. And I don't think there's a lot of other rooms that like to do that. So a mixture between the tenure and what we actually do, as well as that side of things on the transparency side. And one of the other things I find too is I don't really see many groups out there that are as quick as us to get to the names that are actually moving with momentum. We tend to catch the movers a lot quicker than other individuals. And my claim to fame on the option side is I'm typically able to find a couple 1,000% trades every single week, and this is all tracked. And you can go back years, guys, and you can see all these different trade types, and you'll see every single week. Typically, Lotto Fridays where we'll have a couple 1,000% trades there, which I think is very hard to produce consistently, but we're able to do it.
Got you. Got you. So then walk me through your personal framework, right, for trade execution in terms of, getting into a trade. What is it typically like getting into trading, or a typical trader? What would your approach be? I mean, I know you will not give me the entire secret sauce. I know people will have to pay for that, but I just want a general idea as to what you look for, because people are a bit, well, one, afraid of getting into this industry, and secondly maybe confused as to what exactly you are doing. So just give me a general idea of what is it like before you get into
Sure. I
trading.
think before you go there, you need to start with the foundations of yourself. So
Okay.
if you understand what your risk reward is, you're going to understand what your sizing is per trade, and you're going to understand what you're willing to max risk per that position. You need to understand your framework first, because that's going to be important for finding the opportunity you want to place yourself within. So if I'm looking at some sort of a signal, like let's say it's my screener's flashing and it's saying this thing's breaking out, or I see like some sort of a setup like a flag break, range break, something with momentum and volume behind it. Then I will take my risk reward, I'll superimpose it on top of the situation. I'll look at the daily chart to see how much room this thing has to the upside, the downside, or where the next support or resistance level is, depending upon if I'm going short or long. And based off of those two things, the risk reward making sense and the signal making sense will cause me to execute a position or take a trade, so to speak. So it's always going to be dependent upon some sort of a signal, which is going to be based off of my preconceived setups that have high probabilities for myself, and then I overlay the opportunity from a risk reward standpoint on top of it. And then if it has that 3-to-1 skew, then we'll go after it. So very technical approach, I guess.
Right. Yeah. So it's technical, but I also see it's patient as well. It's something
Mhm.
that takes, okay. Does it show these signs, all of those signs, and then I will make the decision. You don't just jump into something.
Yeah, and I think if you don't take that approach in trading, if you're just gunslinging, so to speak, then you probably won't last in the business very long. It's important to take a very pragmatic approach that's trackable from a probability and statistical standpoint. It might not sound that sexy, but that's what actually matters when it comes down to it.
Right. So tell me maybe one point in your career, your trading career so far, that was a really big thing that changed your trajectory, that really opened up the possibilities for you in this business and in your life in general.
Sure. I mean, there's probably two. Number one would be I go over this spreadsheet with everybody, and it's actually on YouTube as well, guys. If you just Google or YouTube our name, Spartan Trading, and you search up risk reward, and you can find me going through the concept. But I built this risk reward spreadsheet like I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 years into my trading career, because I had an understanding kind of what risk reward was, but I never saw it visually laid out that allowed me to understand it as well as I could. And what I did is I built a spreadsheet which actually laid out like random probabilities of trades occurring. They could be bad or good, going through going up and down certain amounts. And the only factor that I had that was controlled was what you're risking and what the reward side is. And I'd run this for an entire year of trading, 5 trades a day, and then I would play around with the numbers, and I would see like, okay, if you start to skew this just above 1 to 1, like 1.01 to 1 reward to risk, you can actually start to see exponential growth in the wins, and you don't always need to be right. So once I understood that risk reward concept, I was like, holy, this is something that I need to learn how to apply right away, because I know it's going to impact the bottom line, and it is. That has dramatically changed the trajectory of what I was doing. And then the second thing would be, I have a story about a big loss I took. I think it was about 400K in like 30 minutes. And I was quite young at the time. Obviously, a massive loss to take. It was Amazon position that sold off, or actually not an Amazon position that sold off. I was short options on Amazon, and then Amazon sold off, which caused a massive loss to occur very quickly. Um, and I took that loss very very fast. And if I didn't, I would have lost like over $1 million, like 1.4. I think it went down to in 24 hours. But I was able to pick myself up and push forward and then actually make that money back within a month. So, that was something I was like, holy smokes, I do have the ability to push forward and, get over those large hurdles. And after that occurred, I think, I haven't taken a large loss like that since, but, I have the confidence that, I know what I'm doing and I can actually push forward. I think most people would give up at that point in time,
Yeah.
but it's something that I use as kind of strength. And I always try to use those losses as lessons, right?
Yeah,
That's one of the big keys.
for sure. For sure. So I'm seeing that, and I understand well, I'm not deep into trading, but from what I do understand is that losing, like you said, must be a lesson. You must either learn what you did wrong, or learn what the market did. It's always about learning about what you could do better next time. And I really understand that. Would you say that the most successful people within your field are those who learn the lessons quicker and then move on?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you can learn a lesson very quickly and not repeat it, then you're going to probably be the most successful person in the industry. What's difficult is not to repeat the same mistake twice because we're humans. But that's the biggest key. If we can get to a point where we're not repeating those mistakes that often, or we're able to learn and not repeat them at all, then yeah, usually those people are going to probably be the most successful.
All right, interesting. Now, do you coach traders beyond the chat in terms of helping them build wealth, build strategic reinvestment? So now we have this money from trading, but we want to diversify, we want to have something elsewhere, and maybe not within the trading space, but elsewhere. Do you do that, and how do you go about doing it if you do?
So I'm not a financial advisor by any means,
Okay, got you.
but what we do is I do give my opinion on some of the things. Like when we talk about mentorship, I show them the system and all the stuff from an educational standpoint.
All right.
But that includes investing. That also includes swing trading. I show them dividend paying portfolios that I've built. I show them algorithms that I built, which is more passive income as well. There's all these different little avenues that we can touch upon. It's not just the, day trading and swing trading side of things. It's also the investing side of things that I focus on as well, because once you've made the money needs to go somewhere, and it's better to be reinvested at the moment in time with inflation this high than, to be sitting in the bank, right? So that's something that we certainly do talk about, as well as, tax planning and those types of things. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just giving them my experience, what I do, what my opinion is, etc. But there's certainly that aspect of it, I guess.
Got you, got you. So you really provide the platform and you allow them to make the decisions as to what they want to do with their money.
Exactly right. It's I can't do it for them, but I can just show them the way. And you can lead a horse to water, right? You
You
can't
can
make them
force it to
drink
drink.
it.
Yeah,
And it is up to them truly. And when it comes down to it, it's them pressing the buttons, right? So as long as they can understand how to do it properly, it's a skill that they'll bring into their whole life, because the discipline aspect of trading is carried over into other aspects for sure.
got you. Got you. All right, bro. So we're moving on to quickly to
Sure.
a segment in this podcast I call the quick hitters segment. It's rapid fire questions, just three rapid fire questions. Just say whatever comes to your mind immediately. We like to tell our guests to answer in 30 seconds or less, if possible. All right.
Sure, let's go.
Okay. So first question: give me three quick trading tips.
Three quick trading tips: control your risk, be patient, set hard stops.
All right, great. I like that. Secondly, what do you advise, or rather, what do you do while trading? What type of music do you listen to while trading?
I don't listen to any music. I'm streaming the entire time. So what I do is I just talk. I talk through the trade with everybody that's listening, and usually that helps, calm me down, etc. as well.
Got you. Final quick hitter question: who would you like to see on this podcast?
I think if you get another trader, it would be pretty cool to see. Maybe someone that's in a slightly different field,
Yeah,
or anyone from a professional athlete standpoint would be cool too. Another one.
beautiful, beautiful. I like that a lot, man. All right, bro. Thank you for that. You answered those questions very, very easily. Most people actually struggle a little bit with the quick hitter questions, but I like that you're quick on your feet, man. It was really good. All right, so we're moving on to the back end of the interview. You spoke about community. What role does community play in high performance habits in terms of becoming successful? What role does actually having a group play in that?
I think there's a couple of sides of things. I think a group of successful people can help you see more opportunities than you're going to see yourself, and I think that's massively key. It's hard to get to that next level unless you have that within your community. The other thing I would say is having a community that helps you when you're down, or helps you push you forward to be a little bit more aggressive when it makes sense to put the foot on the gas, certainly does help as well. So from a performance standpoint, I think it's extremely important to have a community. You need to have people that drive you, and you need to have people to look up to as well, just to show you that it's possible. I mean, I could speak from just my experience. I never thought I'd get to where I was today, but I would see people that were there, and I was like, oh my God, it'd be so cool to make that much, a day and this and that. Because you always think about the money first, but you know, I would see them and get inspired to get to that point. And there's always a bigger fish, right? You always want to get to that bigger point. So I always try to surround myself, especially within our community, with bigger, larger individuals, or guys just with all that type of wisdom that you can lean on.
Beautiful. That is, and I agree with that. The people who that are around us really help us move forward, and the right people help you go the right places. I think it's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Now, looking ahead to see how you would like Spartan to evolve in the future, what are some of the immediate goals for this group? What are you trying to achieve, and so forth?
Yeah, I would love to get our name out there. Yeah, I would love to get our name out there a little bit more. It's,
Mhm.
one thing, we've been around for about 8 years, or I guess 7 years. We just had our 7 year anniversary, and we've never really gone into podcasts like this before. We never really talked about what we do. So I think kind of just getting the message out there, letting people know that, like, hey, there's a community that is more professionally focused, that is focused on your growth. We put so much more time and effort, I think, than any other individual into this, that a lot of people can capitalize and utilize on that. But I'd like to see just the community grow, expand. I think there's plenty of room for growth right now on all different facets.
Beautiful, beautiful. I look forward to that, seeing that from you. And I, based on our conversation so far, and based on I'm understanding and learning your mindset, I really do believe that you can get there. And feel free to come back, man. This podcast is always available. If there's any breaking news, feel free to break it here as well. We always want conversations with individuals like you, individuals who would elevate the consciousness of our podcast. This podcast is mainly targeted at Caribbean people, but it opens. I want to open the minds of Caribbean people to the world, because it's really a global community. And with the birth of the online space, and the birth of the internet, it is really, you are really able to connect with people all around the world. And that is really what this podcast is about, to change the game everywhere for everybody. So I want to thank you so much for coming on, and thank you for giving your remarkable insight, man. Absolutely. All right, guys. This has been yet another episode of the Game Changers podcast. And to thank you for coming on, remember to like and subscribe. Game Changers is available wherever you get your podcasts, wherever you listen to audio podcasts. Remember to download the episodes as well. Anyhow, this has been a remarkable episode as usual. Stay hungry, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.